Okay, today is a project kind of a day. I got soup going on in the background. I just fired up my smoker and I'm gonna get rid of this pork loin. We got in a big pork loin and we didn't have a use for it all. So one of the ways to kind of short-term preserve meat is smoke it. It lasts a lot longer because smoke inhibits bacterial growth. So if you have a good skin of smoke around it, it's gonna last a lot longer. The other thing I did was I made chermoula today, which is kind of like a marinade. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to take and I'm going to rinse off all the nasty juices on this, clean it up, pat it dry, season it, and then rub down the top of it after I score this with the chermoula, kind of get that worked in there, and then throw it on the smoker and let it go. And we can use that for kind of sandwich, deli meat, sear off pieces of it. I'm only going to cook it to about medium rare. So it'll be cookable again without drying out, even though it's a loin. And if I wanted to, I could kind of like do a fake cure on this, rub it down in salt real well, put the chermoula on it, put it in a bag and let it marinate for a couple of days before going to smoke it or slice it and sear it or whatever, and it would kind of just really work into that meat. But I have stuff going on today, so I want to just get it done, and that's the way that I'm going to go about doing it. So I'm going to wash this guy off. Okay, the reason that you wash off a meat after you open the package is bacteria doesn't grow inside of muscles. So if it's a whole muscle, like a pork loin, there's no bacteria inside of it. However, the purge, or that liquid in the bag, that grows bacteria really, really well. And so what happens is if that sticks around, it will grow bacteria, and then that bacteria will set into the muscle and take it over really fast, especially once you cut into it. So you want to always clean that off, and that's going to slow the rate that it starts to rot or break down. So anyways, I've rinsed this off. I'm going to score the top of it. I'm going to season it up with salt pretty well. The chermoula that I have is actually pretty salty, so I don't want to go crazy on the salt with this, and we can always, when we slice it, add more later. But that's all we're going to do, and then we're going to throw it on the smoker. Just like to do a basic crosshatch. There's two reasons to do that. One of them is that it helps to render out a little bit of water from the fat when it's cooking, so you can kind of get a crispier fat. And then the second one, and the more important one in this case, is that I want to be able to rub that marinade into the scores so that it can take the flavor in a little bit deeper and a little bit faster. So that's pretty good. Get our salt. Season the top kind of lightly because I'm going to put the chermoula on that later. Flip it over. Season the bottom a little bit more heavily. And the reason I'm working in this pan is just because it's easier to clean up after. I've got my chermoula here, so I'm just going to take a good spoonful of this, like that. I think two like that will be plenty. So I'm not trying to take the oil out of my chermoula. That's what's going to keep it from oxidizing. Right there. And then you just kind of like pat that down and let the oil cover it again. And it will keep good for a really long time if you take care of it like that. You can just keep on adding a little bit of oil to it as well. And then we'll just kind of work this into all the scores. Now this isn't traditional African in a sense because they're halal, so they wouldn't be eating the pork, but I do it all the time. I like the flavor profile. I think it works really well, so I'm not super concerned with tradition at this point. It's just a fun, another use for a condiment that's really easy to make, but you might not know how to use. All right, so that's rubbed down. We're gonna get that out onto the smoker. Chermoula smoked pork loin, smoked at 275 degrees for about an hour and a half. And it is nice and rosy.